Oh, what's up, everyone? I'm still feeling a little nauseous after watching the match this weekend between Orange County and New Mexico, thanks to some wonderfully crappy camera work by the team out there producing the match. I don't know if it's New Mexico people or just the league sponsored people or whatever, but we're here to talk about the match. Hopefully, none of y'all got sick. Welcome to the Podcast of Champions. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast.
And the air leaves Allang Stadium in one large exhale. Trouble. Arozarena's beat. Orange County opens the scoring. It's Thomas. Kuninga scores! The old guard with a new trophy.
This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, the first and only podcast dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. Follow us on Twitter at OCSC_SoccerCast or on Facebook at Orange and Black Soccer Cast.
How's it going, Orange County? Welcome to another episode of the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, the first and only podcast dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. I'm your host, Ray Samora, and I'm here to take you through this wonderful journey as we discuss all things Orange County Soccer Club. And while going through it, try not to get sick as we watch the highlights. Let me bring on first and foremost the man that's been here since day one, and he's in that blue Orange County SC jersey, but the one without the star. He's missing a star. Dylan, how we doing, my man?
Doing well. I'm glad to be back. And if there's anyone walking behind me in this week's episode, please call some paranormal people because that shouldn't be happening.
I guess we shouldn't do that song. Let's head on down south. Maybe Alan can do a good enough interpretation of that song so we don't get any kind of copyright violations, but it'll sound like it. Go for it.
Well, that song is actually a copyright violation in and of itself.
Of another song.
That is Huey Lewis and the News' New Drug. Ray, I would contend that Dylan does not need a star because he is the star. There you go.
Thanks, Alan.
Star. Yeah. Dylan is the star of the show.
Dylan is at least a star, right? So he's the star on his crest. So no, I will not sing a New Drug or Ghostbusters theme song for you. Sorry.
How are you? And I didn't even get to ask Dylan this. Dylan, did you get nauseous at all watching that New Mexico Orange County match in the stream on ESPN Plus or Valley Sports?
I had to rewatch it. I did not watch it on Valley Sports. I feel like it was worse 2 years ago, but
so they've gotten better, is what you're saying?
Yeah, but it's like it's a baseball stadium, and it's a little bit like watching a Vegas match. So more to come.
What did you think, Alan? Did you get sick at all watching any part of this match? And is it better than what you remember from the past?
I took some Dramamine and did one of those pressure point things, so I was fine. I don't know if it was better or worse. I haven't watched New Mexico in a while. In New Mexico, I think the last time I watched it was against El Paso. But yeah, I mean, I listened to more of it than I watched because of it. So it was almost like watching it on radio and then checking in for big plays and then rewinding if I missed something.
Well, let's see if the other member of our crew here up in Reno, Brad, how did you do? How did you deal with that camera work? I mean, I'm just going to say right now, this is probably going to be our first main topic here before we even get to the match. There were quite a few moments where the ball is off screen. I feel like it was sort of comparable to our camera work when we did the preseason streams last season, is what it sort of looked like. What are your thoughts, Brad? And how are you doing, by the way, with your Malort?
Well, first, let me just say, I'm doing well. Let me just say Alan's comment about Dylan being a star has me clutching a bottle of Malort. Definitely thinking about drinking some. No, I didn't actually get to watch most of the game.
You got too sick. You got you too sick in watching it, right?
Of the game. No, I was actually out and about for a lot of the day. I thought, for some strange reason, our game wouldn't be the first game on in the Saturday slate of games, and therefore we wouldn't be could go get my bottle of mellow corn.
That made total sense, right, Dylan?
Russell made a comment. Russell made a comment.
Dylan's face is showing what's going on there.
I think
This
Brad's
is
back
where
on
our
the chat
producer
here.
Andy. This is where our producer Andy. There.
Yep, there's that good old
Lord,
Reno
and called
internet
it
going
corn match.
that we have up there, getting some frozen stuff, blurry frozen pictures for Brad if you're watching the live stream.
Oh.
Well, let's jump into this really quick. Let's talk about this match. But hey, I'm going to start off with this complaint because this is one thing that's going to hold back the USL from becoming, like, I guess what you would consider a legit television sport when you have issues. And it doesn't just happen with New Mexico. We've seen it multiple times, even sometimes on the Orange County streams, you see some of the Orange County home matches, you see it, but camera work's an issue sometimes. And I want to say, and I get it, it's a New Mexico home feed, so probably there's some control from New Mexico on what's going on. But I want to say there was probably like 4 or 5 moments in the first half of this match where they did a really long shot of one of the coaches on the sideline, and all of a sudden you hear the crowd getting excited, but we can't tell what's going on because we're staring at one of the coaches out on the pitch. And then also, again, like I said, moments where the ball is off pitch, the cameraman doesn't know where the ball was, so he's, instead of just sitting still and waiting to see the ball, he starts zooming around the screen trying to find where that ball is. And then, again, moments where I don't know. It was weird. And I get it. I think Dylan said it's a baseball stadium, so you're going to have issues with it. But do you guys have any concerns with camera work like that? Not just in New Mexico, but again, we've seen it elsewhere. And does that sort of hurt the USL and their image when it comes to trying to promote itself? Dylan?
No, it's not. This isn't a league that image matters. This isn't the Prem, so it doesn't matter. Anytime you are going to let teams play in baseball stadiums or in football stadiums, then you don't get to complain. Like, that's the fact of the matter, is that the USL is happy to be in this weird quasi development league situation thing where you've got up and coming youngsters and you've got like movement through the ranks of the USL that they can track and be proud of there. And they're banking on people recognizing the USL as, oh, that's where Ronaldo Damas is from. Oh, that's where Forrest Lasso is from. Oh, that is where, in an ideal world, Aiden Quinn is from. Not in. And not actually tuning in and watching every game because it's
I think the most 10,676, which was the attendance.
Sure.
Can you hear me?
Sorry, you cut out there briefly again,
Can
Brad.
you hear me now?
So
the important number is 10,676, which was the attendance of the match. I could league cares more about instead of the camera angles right now, because that's how most of these teams get their ticket revenue and their overall revenue, and the league wants to be successful, so however we can get it, we get it.
No, I get that. The announced attendance was amazing, although it does seem like half of that crowd didn't show up until the second half when you look at how empty some of those seats were for the first maybe 20 to 40 minutes of the match. Alan, your thoughts on the shoddy camera work? Maybe it's just me wanting to be more of a perfectionist and expecting a little bit more, but I feel spot on when I say their camera quality, the like following the ball and whatnot, and the shakiness it looked almost as good as what we pulled off last preseason.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was one call that was called offside. They're like, we'd like to see the replay. I was like, there won't be a replay because there wasn't a camera facing it. And things like that really kind of detract from the ability to like understand and comprehend what's going on in the game and follow it in any sort of way. Maybe there were bees, and that was the problem. He was like distracted by bees, and he was everyone has off games, I would say, and you're not working with the the highest paid camera crews or the most experienced camera crews. So I would say, just like the officiating and just like the play on the pitch, sometimes it's inconsistent. And I think when you're following lower league soccer, there are crazier things than what happened this weekend. We were talking on the USL show. There's like a list of 10 like things in the Scottish league, like a player being announced at McDonald's. Like there's wacky stuff. Fuego did their kit reveal at what's that place that I told them to not talk about? Dave and Buster's. So it's like it is part of the league. It is professional in a sense that, hey, you're on ESPN Plus, which is great. You have a cadre of announcers that are good, and then you have some that are not going to be as good, because if everyone was amazing, they'd be calling games for MLS or Liga MX in English, or La Liga. You know what I mean? Like and then as an Orange County podcast,
Alan's trying to like make excuses for what's going on here and
no,
trying to sound nice. He's not like me, where I'm just gonna bash it.
No, and as an Orange County podcast, like calling out empty seats, I think we need to I think league wide, I think that's something that like Phoenix didn't really have a full stadium. They have 13,000 seats, so unless they have 13,000 people showing up, it's going to look pretty empty. And I think Orange County supporters know that there are some games where there is, 4,000 or 5,000 people there, but then you look at the seats, they're empty because the people who are there are like drinking beers and going to get food and standing in line for what are those things called? The things that Andy likes.
Ciders,
because I don't want to leave him out. So, there's, I think unless you're selling out, every stadium's going to look empty at the right angle at the right time.
No, that totally makes sense. And yeah, way to call me out on that. And yeah, it's probably a bad decision for me to make fun of empty seats when we've seen in the past, and we probably will see this coming Tuesday a lot of empty seats when it comes to an Orange County match. Let's talk about the actual action on the pitch that we were able to see when the camera was actually showing it. Orange County travels to New Mexico. That's a tough matchup. So we're looking at Orange County's schedule, and their first two road games are in high altitude situations. The first one in Colorado Springs, and now they're in Albuquerque, New Mexico, playing, I guess, in what's called the Lab, or, better known also as Isotopes Park, when it's a baseball field, apparently. But also playing against a former teammate in Chris Wehan, a very solid team, a team that came in winning their first two matches of the match. And at one point, it looked scary that Orange County went down 1-0, and it took another late bit of, heroism, whatever it's called, from Milan Alaski, and a beautiful set piece from Orange County to at least equalize and walk away, or leave New Mexico with 1 point instead of dropping all 3 points. Probably a pretty uneventful first half, would you say, Dylan? Or was the first half actually pretty good in your eyes?
I want to say uneventful. To me, it's still obvious. It's the very beginning of the season, and teams aren't like super comfortable, and you can even see it in like the first half highlights of everyone's trying to get an extra touch. Everyone's trying to open themselves up a little bit more and find their little spot in the field in relation to their teammates, as opposed to just like putting their foot through it or going directly to goal. And both teams struggled with that, which I thought was kind of surprising. I felt like I would see it more from Orange County because I feel like our roster still isn't finalized and we're away. Instead, we see it from both sides, and a Mexico side that had a good amount of returners and a pretty solid core. I now realize I'm just describing Orange County again. So at this point, I fell flat on its face.
I don't want to bash everyone either, because there were actually some pretty good saves from the goalkeepers in that first half. We saw Rakowski with a really good one-handed save on a blast from, who was it? Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it? I don't know. I forget who it was. It's that one right there that our producer is putting on the screen. But
Nico Brett.
So can't say that there weren't some good shots on goal. There were some good saves from a couple of goalkeepers on this. Alan, your thoughts on that first half of action between New Mexico and Orange County?
Yeah, I was a little bit worried at the beginning of the match. It seemed like New Mexico was the better of the two teams for a lot of the first half, or the first half of the first half, if that makes sense. But then I was actually quite pleased with Orange County the way they closed the half. I thought they took momentum back, which is tough to do on the road, right? If the home team starts out pretty successfully, sometimes it's really tough to pull momentum back in your favor. And I thought that they played decently well in the second half, or in the second half of the first half, so the second quarter, if you will. I thought there was a lot of positivity. This, we talked last week about, hey, you can't just shoot 2 shots from outside the box in one half and expect to do well. They did 6 of 7 were from outside the box, but I thought they had a little bit more possession. They were a little bit less timid going forward. 7 total shots in the first half, so it was better. It was a better way to close the first half, and they closed really strong. Which, that's through the boards, and Ray's muted, so I have no idea what he's joking about. So he, still muted.
I know, buddy. I know.
I thought they closed the half pretty well, which leads you to feel good about going into the second half, at least, with some momentum.
So, just want to clarify, the person I was saying that made that got that blast on goal, and Rakowski made an amazing save. That was Nico Brett. Let's do this really quick, because I think our producer really wanted us to get into this sort of, I don't know if we call it dirty play or dirty, whatever, from Chris Rehan shoving one of the Orange County defenders into the boards. Alan sort of referenced it when he was watching it over and over during his discussion there. I'm going to go to you, Brad. First, let's talk about this from Chris Rehan, and then you can discuss what you saw in the first half. I know this took place in the second half, but let's just get it because it was shown on the screen. If Brad's internet works.
No, my internet works, and I really thought that there was nothing. It's a shove. It's a game. Whatever. Honestly, I'm not gonna read into it.
So basically, you're saying get over it, Andy. It wasn't anything
really
other
good,
than
isn't it?
just part of the game there.
Yeah.
Let's
Pretty much.
let's then talk. Let's move into the second half of action, because that's where at least you see some goals from both teams. New Mexico is the first one to jump in and get a goal, and then again a late equalizer from Milan Alaski. How beautiful was that set piece from Orange County, from the corner, getting it to the back post and then heading it towards goal, and Milan just sort of tapping it in with his head? Do you consider that more on the skill side or more on the luck side of where the ball got to Milan Alaski and gets into the back of net? Dylan?
I don't think it's either of those. I mean, that is how the play is drawn up in training, and that's what they're supposed to do. It's the same. We have kind of the same thing in 2019 when we first played them and had a very late equalizer. It was the same cross to the back post, knockdown header across the face of goal, because you have a much higher chance of reaching the far post than the near post, especially if you're not going directly to goal, and just cause some chaos. It doesn't have to find Milan Alaski. It just has to find a way into the back of the net, whether that's a defender's foot, Milan Alaski's face. Who cares? Maybe the best part about that is him directing the orchestra there. Maybe it's the band. I mean, a real Alan Underwood there. He recognized.
I was going to ask Alan about that, Dylan. You took the question. I was asking his expertise of how well Milan Alaski directed the orchestra there. Of, I don't know, what's the supporter group there in New Mexico?
The Curse.
The Curse. So let's go to Alan. What? How do you rate Milan Alaski's conductorism of the Curse?
Conductorism?
That's a verb.
Conductorism?
That's a verb.
You got to start using that word from now on, Alan. In
as
your classes, teach your students about conductorism.
Can we bring up the video again so I can break this down? While we try to work on that, I don't think Chris Wehan shoved him. I think Chris Wehan lost his contact and he was kind of pointing out where it was, and the guy got in the way, and he went over to help him look for his contact. I think is what that was. So that's just the Orange County player being like nice and respectful, trying to help Chris Wehan, a former Orange County alum, out. He clearly was having some vision issues, so he was like, "I'll go and get it."
Is this the way you're supposed to conduct when you're conducting? Show us the proper way, Alan.
This is not great. But like I can appreciate that at least like he knows that that's something that one does to help people keep time. Yeah, not great. Really, the ictus should be a little bit lower and it should be sharper so I can see the direction and change. So you can see the tempo. He was pretty up high, which leads to kind of tense shoulders and kind of maybe narrower and less airflow for the ensemble that he's conducting, thus diminishing the sound quality of said group. So maybe he's trying to sabotage the curse. So if that's what he's doing, great job. If that is his actually conducting technique, he needs conducting 101. Yeah, we'll give him some lessons for next time.
We'll bring him on the show, and when we get him on the show, Alan, make sure we remember we need to give him some conducting lessons so the next time he pulls that off, he knows what he's doing. Let me ask you, Brad, because if you watch those highlights after he scores the goal, he starts running towards the far sideline, and then he just sort of does a 180 and turns back towards the supporter group. So obviously there was probably this thought in his head, hey, oh yeah, the supporter group's that way. Let me turn around and heckle them a little bit. And he does that whole conductor thing. What are your thoughts on that celebration? And is this an early candidate for celebration of the year when we get to our awards at the end of the season? And obviously, once we ask the question, the internet pauses a little bit there.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Am I here? All right. It is a candidate for celebration of the year. It won't win celebration of the year. I guarantee you we will have at least 3 more good ones that are better. As for the goal itself, I feel like we've had 4 goals on the season, only one of them coming from open play, the other one's coming from set pieces, I believe, if I am correct on that one. Which is really interesting, kind of the expertise for Orange County right now, and it'll be interesting to see if we can continue being kind of the set piece master team that we've been so far this season.
Before we continue, can I just point out that I might be clairvoyant because I asked if New Mexico had kind of ridded themselves of this Troy Lesesne throwing away victories late on in matches, and look what they did.
They threw it away.
That's in their blood, baby, like the meth. That's in their blood. I'm just kidding. Chili's. I get it. It was just a TV show.
No, that's you got to remember, Alan. That's in Swope Park is where that meth is. We learned that a few years back on the show that Swope Park is the home where the meth is. I forget who it was that we had on the show that educated us on that wonderfulness, but that's what we did learn. It was someone from the SB Nation portion of Kansas City sporting knowledge. So we're not trying to call out New Mexico. It's the hatch chili is what Dylan really meant to say there. Let's talk about this. So are we pleased with a 1-1 draw in New Mexico based on everything we saw in there, or are we disappointed that we weren't able to pull off the victory? I'll go to you first, Alan, since Dylan has already spoken recently.
I would say I think the way the team played, I think you're all right with the draw. I don't think it's an unfair result from the way the team played. Like that could have easily gone either way. I think Orange County could have just as easily won 2-1 as lost 2-1 the way the teams played, which in New Mexico you're probably pretty happy with, right? You alluded to New Mexico's off to a hot start, and to get a draw on the road is kind of right. We say win at home, draw on the road, gets you into the playoffs. So, and there was some improvements from last week, right? Like based on the performances, this was a better performance than last week. and you walk out of there with a point, I think you have to be relatively happy to see improvement and also draw on the road, because you're going to get a chance to play New Mexico at home and hopefully be in a little bit better cohesive form, and take the 3 points from when you see them again.
So let me go to you, Brad, because our listener listening or watching live, Russell, with a comment, Cubo out and Ugo in earlier. Brad, do you agree with that expertise there of maybe Ugo needs to be in either the starting lineup or at least coming into the match a little bit earlier to provide that Ugo energy or expertise that he has shown early on in the season?
I mean, this New Mexico game was the first time that I really saw flashes of what Cubo can be on this team. He had a couple of really nice shots that challenged the keeper. Um, Definitely improvement from him on that regard. And if he plays like that, it won't be long till he finds a goal himself. But Okoli did come in the 66th minute of that game, and he did get a good half hour of play in that game. I think there was 5 minutes of stoppage. So, and Cubo stayed on the pitch the whole game. So I don't know if asking Cubo out quicker there is really what we should be saying. But definitely Okoli needs to be in these games a little bit earlier. But I think when we were talking about the super sub usage, how he got used in this past game is, I think, where the team wants to be using him in the future.
And let's just say this. I mean, we're used to this with Orange County fans that it takes, about 5 to 10 games for our offense to sort of kick into high gear there. So who knows with Kubo, it could just be that he needs to figure out how he fits into this game plan that Richard Chaplow is bringing out, and just sort of has to get back into some game shape because he didn't play much over the at least the recent time period, right? So he needs to figure out where he fits in with this roster, and let's give it a little bit of time to figure it out. I have more faith in Kubo than I had in Eero Markkinen last season. I think Kubo actually can figure out a way to be successful on this Orange County squad. Nothing against Eero Markkinen. I just think he just didn't quite fit in with what he was being asked. I think Eero was put in a bad situation because he was being asked to come in maybe as more of that sub that comes in to be a target man instead of getting high minutes early on in the season. So nothing against Eero, but I think Kubo has a better opportunity. Let me ask you really quick, Dylan, and then we'll move on. If you look at before the season starts, Orange County with 4 points after 3 matches, a win at home, a point on the road in New Mexico, a loss in Colorado Springs. Would you have been happy with that after 3 matches? I know that's a really small sample size, but are you happy with that preseason? And are you happy with that at this point where we are now?
Yes, because we played Colorado Springs on the road. Actually, I should just say because we played Colorado Springs. They're incredibly good. New Mexico on the road, you take a draw there. Yeah.
Yeah,
RGV. Yeah, I think these are all fair. We don't have a full roster yet. And even if we did, you know what? It's the first 3 games of the season. Orange County never starts off hot. Let's see what September brings, which is probably something I'm going to say a lot. But yeah, I'm not thrilled. I would have preferred to have 9 points at this moment, but 4.
I think anyone would have preferred to have 9 points at this moment. I mean, that's not rocket science there, Dylan.
Well, I'm just saying I will accept it, but it could be better, and it could be much worse.
So let's go ahead and move on. There will be another league match. This weekend, Orange County doesn't, or actually this past. I'm way off. Never mind. I'm going to shut up. I'm confused. I'm really confused. This weekend, Orange County doesn't have a match. They get a break this weekend. There we go. See, my mind figured it out while I was talking. And they will have a league match the following weekend against San Antonio. I believe that's the 9th is when that is on the calendar. So we're taking a break from league and we're going to US Open Cup, which, Dylan referenced that Orange County doesn't typically get off to great starts in the season in the league. Well, they also tend to not do too well in some of these early matches in the League Cup. So they will be hosting LA Force. So I believe this is sort of a sister or a cousin club to Golden State Force FC that Orange County played a few seasons back and didn't look too good in that match. Anyone here feel like they can expertly preview this match against LA Force? Has anyone watched LA Force recently to know what to expect? Alan, I'll go to you first just in case you have thoughts, and then we'll go to Dylan because Dylan was raising his two fingers.
I actually thought this was a team called La Force, which is translated to the Forced. Maybe they were like all people who were made to play soccer as children. So I was confused why we would be playing them in the Open Cup. But I'm mistaken. It's Los Angeles Force, and it is in English. So let's go over to Dylan, who might have something more logical and soccer focused to say.
Dylan knows a little bit more about LA Force, I think, because of his time doing some work with Cal United. Is this, in fact, the LA Force is in fact like a sister or cousin club of Golden State Force FC, correct, Dylan?
I forget if it's like sister or like spiritual successor or exactly how that one pans
Or like
out.
third cousin or whatever it would be.
Yeah, they probably can't legally get married. This one is they could cause problems for Orange County. They're not great in NISA, but they find a way to get results. It's kind of like this Orange County alumni team. You've got Edson Alvarado, you've got Juan Pablo Osegueda, you've got who else? Chandler Hoffman was there. If he's fit, I'm unsure of where we were there. Yeah. I'm trying to think of some other people that are noticeable. Sean Reynolds, who was in St. Louis, and of course, yes, Chad.
Dylan's favorite. Dylan's favorite.
My favorite Orange County player in history, none other than Mr. Harry Forrester. They can cause problems. They're not going to blow the lights off. They're not going to play us off the field, but if they stick to their game plan, they're going to be direct and frustrating and incredibly annoying, like most NISA games, and that could really cause problems for Orange County. I want to be optimistic and say we can see them off, but I also recognize that this is Orange County in the Open Cup, and Logan Paz is not our head coach, so this is probably a one and done. We might go to penalties. Who cares? We have a tradition to live up to, so let's just prep for San Antonio instead.
Look, now let me just jump in here really quick, and I hopefully I don't get in trouble for sharing this information, but I've our contacts at the club have said that owner James Keston has made this actually a priority for the team this season, that he wants to see a run from Orange County. He wants to see them be able to face and potentially host an MLS team at Championship Soccer Stadium. So maybe there's a little bit of a fire under the coaching staff and the players to have a successful match against LA Force, which I think as fans we'll all love to see. I mean, I think there's not a fan that's or a follower that supports Orange County SC that would say, I don't want to face an MLS team at home potentially, or even, hey, on the road, maybe, face LAFC or LA Galaxy on the road. Do you think with that from, that fire from the owner of wanting to see a successful run from Orange County, at least getting out of the first round, does that set the team up for success? Or do you think the players will still be like, it's the US Open Cup, it's not a big deal? Alan, I'll go to you on that question.
I mean, this is a tough one because if it was like the continuing from year after year, it might feel a little bit like more of a big deal. I would hope they take it seriously because I think Orange County has success in knockout style playoff structures, and they have a style of play that can be very successful if they can make it 2 rounds where they play some MLS squads. And they have some experience at that level. But like what Dylan said, like this is going to be a tough game. So hopefully it's not this is harder than we thought it was going to be. So, hey, forget about it. Let's just kick the ball around a little bit, not outdo ourselves, and then be ready for our next match against San Antonio. But I mean, professionals are professionals for a reason, right? They're going to have some pride in it. So I think they're probably going to take it as serious as they can. I mean, again, Chandler Hoffman is a name in the USL, right? 16 goals for Lou City in 2016. 17 goals in 2017, 12 in 2018, like for Real Monarchs. Like he's a player. So this is going to also be a really good test for maybe some of the kids who don't get a lot of playing time. This might be also a good chance to see what they'd be like against, some decently proven USL talent.
And, it is a Tuesday evening match at Championship Soccer Stadium. So I know it's difficult for a lot of people to make it out there. And it isn't a league match, which sometimes for the higher sort of ranked squad is less appealing. I'm sure there will be some LA Force fans at Championship Soccer Stadium for that match. I think the ties with some of these former OCSC players make it very intriguing. What do you think, Brad? If you were local to the area, are you someone that's going to be buying a ticket to this match and going to Championship Soccer Stadium on Tuesday evening? Or is this sort of I'll just sit at home, drink a beer, and be warm and watch it on ESPN Plus?
I'm the wrong person to ask. Being a soccer nerd, I'm going to any game I can go to. As for, I know we're not making official predictions on this game, but as far as I know, the team LA Force, I'm just going to go ahead and throw out 3-0, 4-0 Orange County and say that that's all the analysis you're going to get from me on this game.
So remind me after our episode ends, Brad, to find out when you're going to be back down, because you said you'll go to any soccer match. So I'll make sure you come out to my kids' soccer matches while you're in town, because you'll go to any match and every match that you can. Dylan, do you have a prediction for this match? As Russell, listening live on YouTube, says that Orange County is going to win 3-1. I know, Dylan, you're not as optimistic as many people because Orange County hasn't proven to be successful in this. Are you going to be optimistic in this match?
I don't want to say that I'm optimistic. I think it's very funny. I would love for us to win the Open Cup, but I think it's hilarious that we lose to lower division teams every go.
Last time in this, we lost to Orange County FC, right? The last time we participated in this tournament.
I honestly couldn't tell you. It's been 3 years. Right? That math's right?
That
I don't know.
sounds
Someone
right.
else. 2019? I don't remember if that was.
Just be confident, Dylan, and it'll sound right.
That would have been. No, that would have been Golden State. Right? That's 2019. Whatever. Point is 2-2, going to Pens, and I don't know. Let's flip a coin later on, and I'll let you know who wins on Pens.
Do we get laser pointers?
Sorry, who advances on Pens. And yeah, bring your laser pointers, everyone.
Oh,
again, don't actually do that.
Don't use them. Yes, don't.
This is not serious.
I'm trying to recall off the top of my head. I'm not looking up on the internet, but I believe the last time Orange County participated in this tournament, they lost to Orange County FC in penalties. Aaron Cervantes was in goal for Orange County, and the penalties were shot on the fan zone side of the stadium. So there was a bunch of Orange County FC fans hanging out over there trying to distract the shooters as they were taking the shot. Because obviously, as most people know, typically the supporters group for the away team is closer to that side of the stadium than the County Line Coalition supporters group for Orange County. So we got predictions for Brad, from Dylan. Alan, do you have a prediction for this match?
1-1 Orange County Juventus on Pens.
And just out of curiosity, who's San Diego facing for their Open Cup match?
Albion Soccer Club. Yeah. So we'll see. That's on Wednesday. Not this Wednesday, next Wednesday.
I'm hoping that it'll be a little bit easier for Orange County this go round, and I'm going to go with a 2-0 victory for Orange County in that first round and moving on in the U.S. Open Cup. Let's do this, and I'm predicting maybe Albion SC beats San Diego, and then that's who Orange County faces in the second round, or not second round, but the next round. Sorry. Let's do this. We don't have much to talk about, I think, with the San Diego match, because we didn't bring in a guest to talk about, or San Antonio match. We didn't bring on a guest to speak about San Antonio. Sorry, Harry, for not inviting you onto this episode. I didn't think about it, that our U.S. Open Cup match will take place when we would normally do the podcast. So we probably will not have an episode next week unless we decide to do some sort of special little quick episode. So let's talk about San Antonio against Orange County. Yeah, let's talk about this. What are your thoughts, gentlemen, on this? I believe San Antonio is doing pretty
3-0.
good, right? I mean, they're a tough opponent. Luckily, it's at home, and the last time San Antonio was in Orange County, they were hunched over because they were exhausted in extra time. Do you think that is going to play in the minds of the San Antonio squad, or is that going to be motivation to come in and take out Orange County? Brad, you have your finger up.
Yeah. Well, just like Orange County has played some difficult opponents this year in Colorado Springs and New Mexico. San Antonio's kind of had the easier end of the schedule so far this year. All three of their games have been wins. You could say maybe DCFC was a tougher challenge than people anticipated, but their other two games came against LA Galaxy 2 and the Toros, both teams that sit below Orange County in the standings, and both of those games were 2-1 victories for San Antonio. So even though this team is 3-0 right now, I have them a little bit lower than some of the other opponents that we've played so far this year. And don't get me wrong, San Antonio is still a very good team. I just see it as, and sorry, Harry, I am totally bashing on your team and my good friend Kevin Bass, who was the former Reno 1868 media guy, who's
Don't
there in
apologize,
Kansas
Brad.
now.
Do not
But
apologize.
but you have to like being at home and against this San Antonio team. Definitely good opportunity to make a statement win for the season so far and kind of prove Orange County's here to seriously defend. I just feel like you have to score your first goal earlier than 79 minutes into a match. Because all of our goals this year have come 79 minutes or later in a match so far.
So let me just say really quick, unlike Orange County, San Antonio does play a match this weekend. And in typical seasons, we could say it's sort of going to be, San Antonio's played some easier opponents. They play Phoenix this weekend. Typically, you could say, okay, this is where we're really going to see what San Antonio has. But Phoenix hasn't gotten off to a great start either. Right, Alan?
No, they have not. They opened out pretty strong, although giving up 2 goals to Monterey Bay didn't inspire too much. And then they lose to Vegas in Las Vegas 2-1. And then probably not as shocking, but still pretty shocking. They lose at home to San Diego, ending their winning streak, a home undefeated streak. Sorry, I need to clarify. And losing 2 games in a row since the first time, I think 2017 or something crazy like that. I picked San Antonio to win that match this weekend over Phoenix. But I would say that San Antonio is probably one of the least convincing strong starts from the season since Everton in the Premier League recently. Boom. Yeah, it's 3 wins, but it's 3 close wins against teams that you expect them to perform better than. But San Antonio still has some talent. They're still a team that can win. But yeah, maybe not as convincing as like Colorado Springs, who just whooped up Birmingham Legion this past weekend on the road. So yeah, it'll be a test for Orange County, but it's one that I think they can be successful in. I could see a win coming for San Diego, or sorry, for Orange County. Sorry, oof. I see a win coming from San Diego too because they play El Paso and they've been terrible. But San Antonio is a tough team. They have talent. They have enough to get by. It seems like maybe a little bit lucky at times, but still a tough squad.
I'll go to you, Dylan. Your thoughts on what San Antonio and Orange County will look like, and then we'll get into some predictions for this match for our official prediction game.
Yeah, they might build a lot of confidence as they play probably directly through Phoenix. Phoenix has been so leaky; they cannot defend right now. So they might be on a little bit of a hot streak, and then they get to play Defeaters Kicks, which is maybe the funniest name in the U.S. game at the moment. And I man, a really big part of me wants them to lose that match because I want this hilariously named team to go as far as possible.
It's actually a British team, and they're the Death Eaters, like the guys who from Harry Potter.
Can this one leave the show? Down here? Yeah,
Underwood out.
Yeah, Underwood out. And ultimately, I think Marcina will sit his team down and say, hey, it could have been us last year in the final, and we could have beaten Tampa 3-1 too. They're going to be hungry, and it's going to be up to Orange County to outlast them. And this time, there's no penalties. This might be a game where Orange County hopes to draw, and hopefully it's 0-0. But yeah, if we're waiting 70 minutes to score a goal, we're probably not going to get 3 points from this one. We have a lot more and somehow less to lose in this situation. There's no real bragging rights, man.
Very interesting opponent for San Antonio there. Interesting name from the opponent. I actually went to go look up and make sure it wasn't like some abbreviation of another name, but that is legitly the name. D Feeders Kicks Soccer Club, or DKSC if you just want to go with the acronym there. So very interesting that. Let's go to our predictions. I'll go to Brad first. Your predictions. Orange County is the first score we say. Brad, go. And by the way, listeners, throw in your predictions too if you want to be get your scores up for the competition as well. And then we'll see. Well, really quick before you do it, Brad, let's look at our standings. Let's bring up our standings for the predictions. I think Dylan had an amazing weekend this past weekend with a correct prediction of 1-1 in this match. So he is now the expert. I'm still at least not in last. Sorry, Alan, but I think last season I was not in last for most of the season, and then towards the end I went with my famous 5-0 predictions, just hoping to turn Orange County into a champion, which obviously it worked. I said Brad first, but let's go to who is in last place first, and that's Alan.
Thanks. My picks have been going really well recently between this and the USL show, which I believe I got like 1 point last week out of a possible 13. It was a rough week. Let's do. I said they could probably win. They're winning. It's probably the 2-1 on another late set piece goal.
So 2-1 Orange County.
Yes.
Perfect. Let's go me next, since I'm in next from the bottom of the table. I'm going to go 4-2 Orange County. Brad, your prediction.
I'm going to go 3-1 Orange County.
And then Dylan, who is the most recent expert when it comes to predicting scores, what is your prediction? So that way anyone listening to this can go to Vegas and put down some money.
Told you guys that was clairvoyant.
Dylan's expertise.
1 banana to 1 banana.
There we go. That's
what is
Dylan's
that in
That's sort of Dylan's go-to prediction
goals.
Now is 1-1. 3 weeks in a row he's predicted 1-1.
That's 3 weeks in a row, yeah.
Welcome to the new Orange County.
So there's that prediction there. Again, if anyone has any predictions for that match, throw them on the chats or tweet them out to us prior to the match. Luckily for you, you have a little bit of time. We had to officially do our predictions today with a whole 10 days or whatever, 11 days before the match. So you might have a better chance of predicting because there might be some roster changes between now and then, either injuries or who knows what happens. Let's do this. Random soccer thoughts from anyone. If anyone wants to share a random soccer thought, go for it.
League One is starting, and that's starting this weekend. And you can catch former Orange County player Nathan Smith playing for Fuego FC this weekend. Apparently, they're going to be pretty good.
Dylan, how do we say that if this was a French league?
No, this isn't a French league. There's not really French people in the valley.
It would still be called Fuego because it's a proper noun.
No, I'm talking about the league.
Still League One? League One because it's a proper noun?
Yep.
All right.
Why don't you get Phil Backey in here and he can throw it down. That man knows how to say Ligon.
See, I got Dylan to say it. That's what I was trying to do.
Him and
I was just
Mika
trying to
on
get Dylan to
hardcore
say it, and I
footy.
got him to do it. So thank you, Dylan. Continue, Alan.
Ligon.
So some exciting new teams, and Orange County fans should pay attention to League One because you might see the next Ronaldo Damas playing this year, who might sign with Orange County next year. So see your future, either future rivals and or future stars in League One this weekend,
including Champions League superstar Keziah Sterling playing in League One, right? According to what social media's had to say a month or two back. Dylan, Brad, do y'all have any soccer stuff you want to talk about? Oh, Dylan's shaking his head. Yes. What you got, Dylan?
Isn't it nodding your head? Because shaking your head would mean no.
Same thing. Your head is moving. Dylan's head is moving, folks, if you're not watching live.
Yes, it was nodding up and down. We have made it all of 2-3 match days into a USL season, and we already have a player getting racially abused. So, good job, guys. This was Hugh Roberts, I believe, of Monterey Bay. Mm-hmm. I don't know what to say, but this stuff happens by nature of bad people being present. I mean, that's what happens in groups, is not everyone's going to be a decent person. So when you hear someone saying bad stuff in the stadium, you should probably call them out and say, hey, that's not what this club, that's not what this group, that's not what we believe in. Unless, of course, you do condone that kind of behavior, in which case that's cool. And then hopefully we can go past the social media abuse side of things, and this person will realize, well, if I can't say it in the stadium, probably shouldn't say it online either. And maybe this is the only time. It's my hope that this is the only time that we have to deal with it this year. And the optimistic part of me wants to say this is the last time we have to deal with this, because he had an incredible final little end to that game, from getting whacked in the face and having a bunch of gauze shoved up his nose to scoring a 90th minute winner for his team's first win. So remember that while they are players on the field for 90 minutes a week, they are also human beings with lives. So, be a decent person. Guess I have to come up with a new random thought now.
I got 2 soccers for you. The first one, I'm going to piggyback on what Dylan said, and not just players are getting treated wrong. Alan can go into more detail if he really chooses to, but fans down in San Diego are also getting some interesting treatment from across the league for players on San Diego's team, and people lumping the fans into players' opinions and stories there. So, come on, guys, be better. We're a small soccer community out there. As for actual soccer stuff, we ended the month of March in the East versus West matchups, 3-3 so far. The East has won 3 out of 6, and the West has won 3 out of 6. So right now, still neck and neck in the East versus West sweepstakes, super stakes. I don't know what to call it. Something cross.
So basically, the Western Conference is a little off to a little bit of a slow start there. Let's do this. Random thoughts for the episode, and we'll go to Brad first for random thought.
Laser pointers are fun toys, and the World Cup qualifiers are coming to an end, and it's been very fun. Also, go Poland.
Just know, Brad, don't point those laser pointers up towards aircraft if you ever are playing with one. Dylan, your random thought.
There's no laws in Nevada, Ray. He'll be fine. Matt, I don't think I really have a random
wasted
thought.
Your random thought on your previous soccer thought.
Well, I mean, being a good person is always a good random thought to have, but I don't know. I'm fresh out this week. I'm sorry, everyone.
Alan, amazing. I don't think Dylan's recommended a book since the season started, which is pretty darn.
I've been in some heavy stuff. If you guys would like, I can give you some recommendations.
Alan, your random thought.
There's this great thing. It's also Sprach Zarathustra. It's a no, just kidding. That was not my reading recommendation. Atlanta on FX is back. If you have not watched Atlanta, it is the brainchild of Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino, aka Troy from Community. If you haven't seen it, go back to the beginning and watch it. It's like two of the greatest seasons of TV show ever.
I will do that, Alan. I will do that.
It's great. It's unpredictable. It's great storytelling. It started up last week. Watched the first episode tonight, and it is good as always. Great storytelling. And yeah, just wait till you get to the Yoo-Hoo commercial. I think it's in season 2, making fun of Chance the Rapper. It is great and has always been stuck in my head. So it's on FX. It is also on Hulu if you have Hulu.
My random thought is I have officially begun my path to replace Oliver as GM at Orange County. We had soccer tryouts for our select clubs or select teams through Laguna Niguel Youth Soccer Association the past 2 weekends. So I had to scout some players to see if any of them are potentially capable of joining us in the fall. I actually, sort of starred 3 to 4 players. There's 2 teams at the same age group. So me and the other coach had to sort of negotiate on how we're going to split things up. We both wanted, there's this one player that's like the sure shot player that we both wanted, but this player is also trying out for some club teams. So I'm under the assumption he probably will choose club. But I was able to negotiate and say, hey, I'll let you have that player if you let me look at these other 3 players in some closed session or have them trial with us at practices. And anyone that I don't pick, I'll send back your way if you want to check them out. So I'm looking at potentially getting some more sure roster spots filled instead of going for the swing and the miss with someone who more than likely is going to go to a higher level team. Dylan, hand raised.
Yeah, have you thought about signing Robbie Kiernan? He is, I believe, unattached at the moment. You might be able to make a handsome little fee there.
Unfortunately, this is U11 or U12. I can't remember the way they do it. I go back by birth here. 2011 age group. I think Robbie's a little bit too old for that, and there's nothing in the rules that allow for 1 or 2 players that are exceptions from the rules. So unfortunately, I can't unless we have a time machine and we send him back in time and we get a 10 or 11-year-old Robbie Kiernan to be able to play for us. Brad, 4 fingers up, Brad. What you got? 4 fingers up, but he's muted, so it makes perfect sense.
Have you thought of signing the good kid and then trying to get a sell-on fee from the clubs?
That would have been a good idea, but yeah, we don't have sell-on fees right now. I would love to do that. But hey, it was all part of the negotiations. I made it known that I want this kid too, and so I waited for the other coach to come back. Hopefully he's not listening because now he's going to know my tricks. But I waited for him to come back and say, hey, I want this kid. You can have, one of the other 2 kids that I wanted, whatever. So we'll see how it goes. Who knows? We're going to have these kids come out and practice with us for a few games. I hate doing this part of it. That's why I've always coached rec, where it's just, let me just bring my team in and we'll coach. But now I'm learning some of the politics and some of the negotiations and the stuff you have to do when you're actually trying to build a team and having people try out for the team. So we'll see how it goes. I found out that more than likely for the spring, we're playing in Flight 2, and this is a team that last fall played rec soccer. So Flight 2 club is going to be very difficult. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Dylan looked like he was going to say something, but then stopped. No. Well, let's do this. Let's wrap things up. I want to thank everyone for listening to this amazing episode of the podcast. I believe probably no episode next week unless, you guys decide. I won't be available next week, but if the 3 of you decide you want to do something next week on an alternate day, go for it. Enjoy the LA Force match next Tuesday for those of you that are listeners that typically tune in for this show. Any other thing that I'm missing, gentlemen? No.
Be a good person. Have a good week.
Be a good person. Have a good week. Oh.
Hey, guys. How's everyone doing?
Underwood out.
No, I
This has
think
been the
our
Orange
producer
and Black.
wanted Alan to wrap up our show. Maybe
This
he
has
wanted
been-
Alan to do some BGN reads.
This has been the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, and we're
Alan
out.
doesn't remember his BGN reads.
I do. They're like
Tired of the same old
traumatizing now.
cookie cutter templates from Nike and Adidas.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening to this episode. We will see you in 2 weeks unless these guys do a special episode. For Brad, for Dylan, for Alan, and for our producer Andy, this is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, and we are out.
Orange County.